All right, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. Today's video is going to be about how to create an emissive light on a water shader plane. Um, in this video, we're going to be targeting just lighting in general. So hopefully this helps in any way. In these two photos, this is the what the material looks like. All right, so here in Blender, we are just going to add two planes. One plane is going to be the water plane, and the second plane is going to be the landscape. So just scale those up. The landscape is going to be underneath the water plane. Click the water plane, add a new material. Bring all of these down to 0. Bring up the transmission to 1. And on the IOR, put it to 1.32. All right. So what we need to do is grab a sky. We'll do a image as plane. Just grab a sky from, I don't know, Pixel or anywhere you can find a good sky. High quality, at least. So we're just gonna grab a sky. Just pick whatever. Maybe we'll just do maybe this one. Click on emit, and we'll position the camera somewhere. Maybe let's see. We'll position the camera about right here. Looks pretty good. Maybe bring it in just a little bit. All right, so we'll just scale this sky plane. And we'll tilt it towards us. Scale it up so we can have that midpoint right here. Looks pretty good. All right, so the landscape, what we need to do is apply the scale first, all transforms. I'm going to save this in case it crashes for any reason. I don't have to restart. We'll just call this emissive. All right, so the picture, we'll just hide the shadow. And we'll add a light source, sun lamp. Just bring that all the way to 10. Play with that in a minute. Here, we don't want to be hiding the water, so we'll just back this all the way up where it's out of the frame where our object is. Scale it up again until we see the horizon line, which is right there. Should be good. All right, so the plane, the water plane, what we need to do is we need to add a vector bump node. Plug the bump node into the normal socket of the BSDF, invert it, and then add a texture node, which is a noise texture. Plug the color into the height of the bump, bring the detail all the way up. Roughness, this is a personal preference, so whatever you feel right, just play around with the scales, the values. So I always adjust as I go, so just, yeah, save this. So to get this cool effect, what we need to do is on the landscape underneath the water, we need to subdivide. So to go to edit mode, subdivide it about, I don't know, 250. And then we're gonna sculpt this. We're gonna do a sloppy job. We're just gonna bring this. We're just gonna make a valley right here, just going across. Find a better brush to do this. It's not gonna be perfect. I'm just doing a quick one. Oops. get a good foundation of how the landscape would look. So we'll just do this for now, and we'll just shade smooth, put a subdivision surface on it to make it smoother. We'll just play around with the sun for now. We'll just do this. Bring up the angle to make the shadows a little bit smoother. All right, going back to the water shader. So we got the bump, plugging it into the normal socket, and the noise texture of the color, plugging it into the height of the bump. All right, so to get the emissive lighting, what we need to do is add a color ramp. So converter, color ramp, plugging the color into the emission socket, getting a texture, wave texture, plugging the wave texture and color into the factor of the color ramp, getting the color ramp, picking whatever color, the white color. I don't know, just get whatever color you prefer. We'll just do blue for now. Now, depending on where you bring the black slider is where the lines get thinner. So we'll just do, and whatever you change here, the lines will be either not fading, or it'll be just very sharp, just like this. So I prefer, B-spline. Get those faded edges. So now what we need to do is we can either pick one of these. I prefer the way it looks. So we'll just do X. Can play around the scale. All right, so what we need to do is detail all the way up, distort it just a little bit. Play with the detail scale and the detail roughness. Then the emission strength can be played around with, so I'll just keep it around 10. Bringing down the black slider again. Blue slider just a little bit up. Playing around with the bump on the noise texture. And if you have the node wrangler turned on, what you need to do is go to preferences, go to add-ons, type in node wrangler. Making sure that that's checked on. Much easier to plug in nodes. So what we need to do is Control T, and it'll bring in the mapping in the texture coordinates. Now what we can do is plug in to the object, UV, or the generator. Personally, I would do generator, and then we can play with the scale if we need to. Bring it down, just like this. Go in here, play with the phase offset, rotate it just a bit maybe. We need to play with the location, play with the rotation, scale it up, scale it down, play with all the wave textures and the noise textures and bump node just to get it right. Now for the trick is we can bring the alpha down just a tad bit to get the effect going. And what we need to do is add the best way to get this effect is putting a white material or white texture onto the landscape itself. So we're just gonna find, I don't know, Control Shift T, and it'll bring up the files. Just find a good surface, a white surface. We'll just do I got a lot of files, so give me a second to find one. All right, so we're just gonna use this sand desert, I guess. And for here, we're just gonna bring the specular all the way up, the bump inverted, and on the base color, the UV editor, we're gonna tap into edit mode, select all, UV, unwrap, Q project. We're gonna just scale this up a lot. We're not too much, but we can see the details. So looking pretty good. All right, for the sun, you gotta get it right. Clicking on the water, bringing the alpha down so it's a little bit transparent underneath. And on the color ramp, you can play around with the way it looks. So we'll just put on linear to make it a little bit less faded. We'll bring the strength a little bit up too. We can also invert this if we need to. Or flip it, I meant. Like that. And then we can also add a color to the water itself, making it blue or red or whatever color you decide. So we'll just make it slightly white and blue between here. Make it there. And then we'll just mess around with the alpha. And if you can't get the look, you can always try metallic as well. Just playing around with the lighting is the only way where you can get this cool effect. Also playing around with the settings in here is another way to get the effect, making sure that maybe the strength isn't too much. You can bring up the quality of the light if you need to. Maybe just turn the specular off as well. Just playing around with these settings is going to help a lot. All right, so now if you need to, you can also add a HDRI if you want to. I'm just going to turn this down and just add maybe, this looks pretty good. And then we'll just rotate this, go into world, and just rotate it anywhere to get a better feel of the lighting. This is another way to do it, just adding a HDRI and just deleting the sun lamp and just keeping the HDRI in here as well. I would suggest just using transmission and just bringing it down, playing with the scale on here to get that look. So I'm just do a quick render so I can show you guys on how it looks. You can also add this with just a wave or just the texture as well. Plugging the texture here and using the generator. We'll do a white. And there we go. We got some like foam, I guess you can say. And you can also animate this if you need to. Here. Rotation, make the waves look like they're moving with the noise texture too. Alright, to clarify that I got the node set up correctly and placed. So the back plane, I just turned off the glossiness to hide the glare or the reflection. And the change that I made was just adding, I'll show you the texture first, so. The only thing that I changed was just adding a color mixed RGB, plugging it into the emission, combining it with the color amp into the factor, messing around with the foam, and then earlier with the wave texture, the emissive on it. And then I've added the same texture, but white to make the foam. Played with the values of the mapping. And then played with the noise texture and the bump. That's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you out. Now I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.